thing, on behalf of the board, we acknowledge that York Region is located on the traditional territory of many Indigenous people, including Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and the Métis people, and the treaty territories of Haudenosaunee, Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and Williams Treaty First Nation. Today, this area is home to many diverse Indigenous people, and we recognize their history, spirituality, culture, and stewardship of this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgian Island First Nation as our closest First Nation community. Good morning, everyone. Is any disclosure of interest at this time? I don't see Norma. She was on. Her camera's off. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's a hell of a big picture of us sitting here. That's all right. Anyways, confirmation of the public minutes of October 25th, 2023. Thank you, Mayor Pellegrini. Second by Councillor Jackson. Any questions on the minutes? Concerns? Seeing any? All those in favor? Against? The motion is carried. There are no presentations and there is no deputation at this time. We have two communications, 7.1 and 7.2. They're both to receive. And then we have consideration adoption reports 8.1 to 8.5. Are there any would like to be pulled at this time? I know the chief would like to speak to 8.4. And I think that was about the only one, if I remember, sir. So is there anyone from the board that would like to speak to any of the items and reports on the public agenda? Norma, you're muted. Did you want something?
No, the chief is going to speak on it. That's fine.
He's going to speak
8.
on
8.4.
Yes, yes.
8.4. Right.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
that's satisfactory. Yes.
Okay. Anything else then? Okay, I'm going to ask Madeline and Norma to move the recommendations of the other.
Yeah.
Ones not required.
Yes.
Separate. Okay. All those in favor? Against? The motion is carried. Now, 8.4, Chief, go ahead. I think this is a good news story. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. Let me just open it here. I didn't have it open yet. Here we go. So as the board can see, this is a report on closed circuit television video cameras in the region. Deputy De Silva has done a lot of work on this report and on this program, and I'm going to turn it over to him in just a couple of seconds to give the board a briefing on how we intend on using these cameras in the region. But the recommendations are that the board approve the implementation and use of closed circuit TV in public spaces within the region municipality of York and within the 9 municipalities, and that the board would enter into agreements with the region municipality of York and the 9 local municipalities to install CCTV video cameras on their municipal infrastructure. So before we take any questions, I'll turn it over to Deputy De Silva. He can give you a briefing on that, and then we can answer any questions you have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Deputy.
Thank you, Chief. And through you, Chairman Emerson and members of the board, I'm here to provide an overview of our proposal for the implementation of closed circuit television video cameras in public spaces within the regional municipality of York and its 9 municipalities. YRP has secured provincial grant funding to the tune of $200,000 to address the challenge of violence within our communities. The objective of the CCTV program, as outlined, aims to directly address criminal and/or public safety concerns through the deterrence of crime, improving police response, enhance the perception of safety, and the use of camera recording as evidence to support criminal investigations. Utilizing a data-driven approach, York Regional Police has identified 10 locations within York Region for CCTV installation. These locations have been strategically chosen to support community safety and well-being. These 10 locations will be reevaluated within a year to ensure that the priority and the locations remain as areas of concern. We are committed to public consultation as outlined in the Privacy Commission's recommendations, allowing the community to provide input on the program. Signs will be predominantly displayed to inform the public of CCTV monitoring. This ensures transparency and compliance with the privacy regulations, with contact information provided for any inquiries and in accordance with the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario. And we will adhere to the strict ethical and legal principles of the use of CCTV, ensuring professional conduct, lawful collection and retention monitoring of public spaces only, and through proper training and auditing. An annual report will evaluate the program's effectiveness, measuring its impact on crime, and assessing public opinion. To recap, the implementation of CCTV offers a cost-effective and impactful solution to combat crime and violence through deterrence of criminal activities, improving investigation, and enhancing our community. It is our goal that these cameras contribute significantly to reducing crimes and improving overall community safety and well-being. I'm open to any questions from the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy, Norma, you had a question? No, you're muted. Sorry. Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My question was, will they be moved? Are they stay in the same position all the time?
Through you, Chairman Emerson and Ms. McCullough, the cameras will be fixed, installed for a period of 1 year and then reassessed after the 1 year for their effectiveness in that area. It's not to say that we couldn't move 1 or 2 cameras depending on what we see from a data-driven and evidence approach, as crime in one area may actually move, and there may be a requirement to actually move a camera. But predominantly, they will be fixed.
Yes. Go ahead, Norma.
I believe the second question would have been, so they will stay in one position for 1 year, and if it's necessary, you will move it only if crime has moved from those areas to other areas. That's one question. The second one was the public consultation. Has it started, or in what format would that be? Are they town halls? Are they
Yeah, so through you, Chairman Emerson, Ms. McCullough, the public consultation will occur through social media, town halls, and publications. So our intent is to reach as much as the community as possible to gain their insight in relation to the CCTV cameras.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. Mayor Pellegrini, go ahead, Steve.
Basically, he's answered the questions, but signage will be where the cameras are. And
Correct.
so if you put more cameras up, you'll just put more signage up or around the areas and whatnot.
So the privacy commissioner is very specific in relation to signage, and the signages have to be as part of the camera. So wherever the camera is located, there will be signage that clearly indicates that members of the public are within the provisions of a CCTV camera, and they'll have information in relation to who to contact should they have any concerns.
And just for my sake, because we're already doing some of this in our parks. Municipalities already have CC cameras in our parks because of vandalism and whatnot going on. So this is an extension to where there's other crime happening, because
That is correct.
would you guys ever take over our cameras in our parks? Oh,
I would have to
question.
I would have to defer that, because currently the program, our CCTV program, will feed into our real-time operations center. There is some guidelines that I would have to look at, because I believe within the Privacy Commissioner's report, we have to be responsible for the actual training, conduct, and monitoring of those public spaces. So from a legal perspective, I would have to probably take that back and really evaluate whether or not we could do that. Chief?
Yeah, the only thing I would add, Mayor, is that we've always been looking for opportunities within the community where video can be shared either through municipality or from private businesses, where we could have access to cameras in our real-time operations center. So I think that's something we definitely could explore. Whether it's not to say that we would take it over, and I guess that's what we could, discuss at a later date, but really to have access to monitoring of certain spaces. in our real-time operation center is definitely something worth exploring because as, you know, without getting into it, we have engaged with other private businesses in the past about sharing of video to our RTOC, the Real-Time Operations Center. And, you know, to whatever extent it didn't occur, but this is a different avenue where we're talking about municipalities who already have some cameras, sharing that data or sharing that video with us. I think is something definitely we should talk about and explore, because having access to it for us is a great safety mechanism for our officers who would be responding to crime calls there as well, should they ever have to be there, right, for whatever the reason. So definitely something worth exploring.
Yeah, and just we've been dealing with this for a while, especially with the increase in car thefts, right? There's some neighborhoods that really only have one point of entry and egress. So they're saying, why don't you guys put cameras there? And I was saying, well, be a little late by the time it's driving out, but it's gonna create new questions and new procedures out there. So thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Linda?
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning all. First off, thank you, Paulo, through you. Great presentation, very supportive of this. I think it's been proven with other police services that these eyes in the sky, for lack of better words, are fantastic and work well. I just want to go back and just, my understanding is that you received a grant from $200,000 in the province of Ontario to do this. So technically it's about 20,000 per camera because we're putting in 10. Would that make sense?
I don't have the exact cost because we haven't gone out to tender. So the actual funding is up to $400,000. So the province gives us up to $400,000 and we are funded for 50% of $400,000. So we have an expenditure on the capital side of 200, and then obviously the province covers us for half of that 400. Did I explain that correct, Jeff? I just want to make sure.
Yes, through you, Chair, that's all correct. And it's approximately half equipment and network infrastructure and half installation costs.
Right. Through the chair, what I'm getting at is I'd like to see more of them. So I think that, so that's why I was wondering, I'm sure that 10 is not your list. So is your suggestion then to report back to the board in a year with recommendations with the results and then with a recommendation to bring more? Because I think you need a heck of a lot more than 10. So this is, in lack of better words, a pilot in a sense, then is it through you to the deputy?
No, and through you, Chairman Emerson, the goal was, this is an established program across the province. This is the first instance in relation to the region actually adopting CCTV cameras. Our goal is within the year to evaluate the effectiveness of those locations. I have a list of over 27 hotspots within the region that could probably be well suited.
Yeah.
About 10 of them are in Vaughan alone.
Of course they are.
So to your point, you know, this is the first foray in, and we look and hope that, and we can expect that it will be successful. And we look to further enhance the grant opportunity and expand it throughout the municipalities.
I guess just through you, Chairman. I guess my point is that, you know, these are necessary. These are going to be a great tool for us. I would hate to see, would you have an opportunity if you get them in grant to come back to us sooner? And once you figure out what the actual dollars and cents are and whether you can apply for more, because I think we really need to, you know, roll out more. So I'm going to leave it like that. But just going over, I know that there's specific criteria because you all work on stats and things like that. And I'll speak in particular to the ones in Vaughan. Totally understand the first two, which I won't. But the third, the Islington and Steeles, I'm like that was kind of a surprise to me. But obviously it's based on your stats. And I mean, I know a lot of hotspots. That wouldn't be one that I would list, but I'll leave it in your capable hands. Just sort of, that one just jumped out. The other two were like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we'll leave it like that. But just checking my notes here. Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Deputy. I'm looking forward to this, and it'd be my pleasure to move the recommendation at that time.
Good. Well, thanks, Linda. And I think you bring up a valid point. If the province is going to give us $400,000,
Let's use it.
up to 400,000, then I think when you bring back the further report, hopefully we can find a couple $100,000 in a $450 million budget that we're going to approve in a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping we don't want to leave any money on the table
Exactly.
from the province of Ontario. And if they're willing to give us that much money, then you may want to reconsider. But I don't know the costing. And I think that's what you're saying, Deputy. You got to go and see the costing, see what it costs and see what's going. And then we can just, then you can bring something back to the board early in the new year to say, okay, this is what we can do. So I think that's the valid one. Yeah, right. You don't leave money on the province or the feds on the table anytime.
Chairman,
Madam-
I'm
Yeah,
duly noted. We will make sure that we tap out as much as we can.
good. Madeline. Go ahead.
So my question is, you've got these 10 locations. Is it 10 locations or 10 cameras singly? And how does it work? They move around, they're a single shot of you of an intersection. And then the third point is you're looking for investigation purposes for crimes that are committed in the area and the car is passing through, or are you looking for traffic issues or sort of what's the overall objective for who you're looking for? So people in the community kind of know, oh, I got to slow down here, or I got to make sure I don't go through a red light or whatever, like.
No, absolutely. And through you, Chairman Emerson. So some of the locations, so the ones along Jane Street between Major Mac and Rutherford are obviously along the Wonderland corridor. Those ones will be fixed locations. They're not pointing at intersections. Those are really to address some of the issues that we have during the summer months, during October, where we do have elevated incidents within that area. And it's really from a public perspective. Some of the other locations are really intersection driven. So it really depends on the actual location and what the stats and the evidence is telling us in relation to that crime in that area. So some of them will be direct public locations in terms, well, all of them are street locations. In terms of being fixed and moving around, all of the cameras will be fixed cameras. They're dome cameras, so they capture an area. Nothing is really intended to be sort of moving. They are fixed, and all we're doing is really capturing the elements of the area that they capture, whether or not it's an intersection or the areas that are of primary concern from a public access perspective. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, I don't see any more questions. I'm gonna move by Linda, second by Madeline. Sure, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
Oh, just on that, just
okay.
a clerical error. Carville Road is spelled wrong. I'm a crazed person for spelling.
All right.
It's 2 R's. It's 2 R's, so sorry. Just a minor clerical. I'll
Good.
move the recommendation,
Thank
Chairman,
you,
with
second by
pleasure.
Madeline. Okay, any further comments, questions? All those in favor? Against, the motion is carried. So members of the board, we're gonna go to unfinished business. And the first one, I know it seems like a while ago we did this, but it's my pleasure to formally announce that Anitra Bassett Siddhavant has been appointed to the role of Executive Director of the York Regional Police Services Board. The board unanimously approved this appointment of Anitra to the position of Executive Director on a permanent full-time basis at its meeting in September. I'm pleased to announce she has accepted the position and is now officially part of the board's executive staff. Anitra graciously stepped to the board's interim executive director in May 2023 and has been vital in helping with the continuing of the board's important work over the last 7 months. Anitra has come to us from York Region's Regional Solicitor's Office, where she spent past 12 years as a senior law clerk providing policy and legal guidance across many areas of the organization, collaborating with local municipal staff on intermunicipal initiative and supporting York Regional Police and this board. Prior to joining New York Region, Anitra had various roles in the education, hospital, and technical sectors, and this board experience together with her knowledge of the board's governance role will be an asset in her position as the executive director of this board. We welcome you to the board and look forward to working with you on important governance and community safety issues, ensuring the board meets its mandate. So Anitra, finally, after 7 months, we finally been able to make this announcement. Well done. And we, like I said, we do look forward to it, and it's been great having you so far, and I know it'll continue on. I want to thank Mr. Kuzmic's office for allowing us to steal someone from his office to come over here. And he was saying, it's really, he told me, he said, we're all one family. It's all York Region. And so whether you're sitting here or sitting at York Region, you're all one family. And that's, we want the best for York Region. So we thank you for stepping up to the role And I know you're looking forward to it too, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, I knew that. I didn't have to tell you that, though, did I? No. Good. Do you want to say anything?
Sure.
Sure.
So Dan will tell you, I kind of waffled a bit coming over here because I was pretty comfy working with him. But I've been privileged to support YRP for the last decade and saw a lot of amazing things they've done, and the opportunity to jump over to the board and support that and have the board take a more active role on their part to, enhance the work that YRP has been doing was just too good to pass up. So I look forward to bringing more change.
Good for you. Well, we look forward to that. Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a comment as well about, although it's been a short time so far, working with Anitra, I can tell you a true professional, and we have an outstanding working relationship with Anitra. So a welcome addition to the board, and we applaud the appointment and look forward to working with you, Anitra.
Thanks, Chief. That's great. No, it's always great. So thank you. Good. You got your new car?
Yes. I
Good.
do.
Okay, good. Okay. She was struggling to she was getting a new car here a little while ago, so it was good. Okay. The next one is upcoming York Region events, the lighting ceremony on December the 7th, and the Chief's Holiday Luncheon is always a great luncheon. I believe that, if I understand, you want us to work at this thing or self-serve,
100%.
really?
100%.
Really?
So
Holiday luncheon?
I'll just give you a couple of details on these events, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Sure,
through you.
yes.
So on Thursday, December 7th at 5 p.m. At headquarters, we will have our menorah lighting. It's an annual event. And obviously board members, any board members and families are welcome to join York Regional Police, our York Regional Police Rabbi Corey Weiss, and members of our communities will be there as we do every year, light the menorah, signifying the start of Hanukkah season. So no speaking required on the board's perspective, from a board perspective, but you're always welcome to join in any of our events. And this is one of them upcoming. And as you'd mentioned, Mr. Chair, our holiday lunch is on Wednesday, December 13th from 11:30 to 1. And we fully expect, Mr. Chair, that you will be there with your apron on and a ladle in hand, hopefully serving our members. But in all joking aside, no requirement for you to do that. We just welcome any board member who would like to show up. It's always well attended. There will be a lot of us probably sitting at this table serving. So you'll have a good opportunity to have a few laughs while you're there, I hope, and always welcome. The last event I just wanted to talk about, and I'll just open it up. I'll turn it right over to the executive sponsor for this, which is Deputy Almeida, our annual Holiday Heroes program, which we're so proud of. So I won't make any other comment at this point. I'll turn it right over to the deputy and take it from there, Al.
Thank you, Chief, and through you, Mr. Chair. So we're pleased to announce that we just launched our 27th annual Holiday Heroes campaign. Just to give you some history, initially this program started as Toys for Tots, where we had partnered up with the Children's Aid Society. And then once that program came to an end, we partnered with Salvation Army and started our own Holiday Heroes campaign. And one of the reasons why we wanted it to start our own campaign was to ensure that the donations that were collected stayed within York Region, and that since we've had such a great partnership with Salvation Army, it seemed like a very good organization to partner with. Since then, we've partnered with Victim Services of York Region, which allows us to directly connect the work that our members do with supporting members in the community. Last year, we were able to support just shy of 3,000 families and affecting over 4,700 children. We can't understate how important this program is, and the partnerships that we've been able to develop through the years with corporate sponsorships and the assistance of approximately 136 businesses throughout York Region, as well as over 78 schools. And we continue to do the work. In terms of donations, we accept cash. Unwrapped toys, children's clothing, and non-perishable food items, in case you were wondering if you wanted to donate. And then the last thing I say that really proud of the work that our members do, because last year they logged well over 700 hours of volunteer hours, and they attended approximately 34 community events throughout the region. And really, that's the essence of the program. And we, in terms of quantifying how much we bring in every year, we're in the neighborhood of $1 million, because as we go through each family, and some of the families that are serviced through Victim Services of the York Region, those packages amount to approximately $1,500 per family. So that's the goal that we've been ascribing to for the last several years.
Well done, sir. Question, Linda?
More of a comment,
Sure,
Mr.
Dr.
Chairman,
Mike.
through you. First off, congratulations, Deputy. I think is really super important, and you said it, but I think you can't say it enough. The Holiday Heroes and what you, along with the York Region Police Association, do is phenomenal work and should be commended. But I think you need to stress every time you're in front of the public is that every toy and every money going to a food bank stays in York Region. That is key. There's a lot of other toy and food drives happening throughout York Region that not one toy stays in York Region. And I think the public needs to know. I think a lot of times public goes out and they are giving to a toy fund, which I think is wonderful because people want to give back to their community. But I think they have this thought that if they're giving it to a charity in York Region or dropping it off, that it's staying there, and it's not. So I think whatever opportunity you can, that's extremely important to push that. But I would like also is because it's something that I find is, there's so many disadvantaged families. It's interesting, and I'm going to speak in particular to my municipality, City of Vaughan. Everyone thinks the City of Vaughan, Mr. Chairman, is a very wealthy municipality. And in most cases it is. But I look over the years, and I'm talking back almost 20 years since I've been in politics. I've worked with a school in Woodbridge, I won't name them, that is one of 4 schools in York Region that has a breakfast club because children are going to school hungry. And no one would think of that. Everyone thinks Woodbridge, everybody drives Ferraris, Cadillacs, Range Rovers, but there's this sort of hidden poverty that people are not aware of. And that's why it's our responsibility to raise the awareness and to get the money and to help Holiday Heroes become very successful. So I'm going to do whatever I can, Mr. Chairman, this year. And I look to my board colleagues and also to members of Regional Council to go out there and hit up the people that we know in our community who can give to make a family's Christmas memorable and to put food on their table. But Mr. Chair, my fleeting comments is that I was looking online because I wanted to start pushing it out on my social media and my e-newsletters for Holiday Heroes. I couldn't find any good artwork, so I don't know. I'm looking over at Karen because some of the stuff that comes out from official YRP has got actual dates of upcoming events, which I'd also like to know because I see the dates, but my calendar is always so full I can never make those two. So if we have upcoming dates, I want to be there and I want to personally help, but I also want to plug this through my social media. And I'll encourage some of my colleagues from Vaughan Council to do the same. And I look around the room, and I think it's important that we stress that every toy and every food gift stays in York Region. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. Anything else? Deputy?
Thank you very much. And I will make sure that in my comments and my future community events do underline that they do stay in the community. And thank you for the reminder again. I did forget that we do support all the food banks within York Region with this drive.
Yeah.
And I also want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due, and that is the events team, which Karen and her team were a part of for many, many years. We couldn't do this without them. And we'll definitely get the artwork set. So I'll send that through Anitra. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Chief?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Thanks, Ms. Jackson, for your comments. Well noted. I will say something I wanted to add to this as well is that please don't underestimate the impact this has on our members as well, because I can tell you, being one of the people that goes out among many others at these tables and throughout our organization, when you are delivering gifts to people who are struggling in some cases. And I think for our own people, it really rings true to them why we do what we do. We all join this job to help people. And this is the epitome of truly helping people, you know. And most days, people don't want to see us. On this day, everybody wants to see us because as we all know, everybody deserves to have a Christmas. Everybody deserves to have a holiday season. And that's what we're trying to do here. So I applaud the entire team here. Karen and the events team, corporate communications. This is an all hands on deck approach to doing what we believe is probably very different than many other organizations have taken. And as you've heard from the deputy, we've raised over $1 million a year and it just continues to grow. It's an outstanding program that truly does make a difference in the community, which is the vision of our organization. So I just wanted to leave you with those comments. It does ring true to our people.
Excuse me. So the Chief's Lunch is also one that there's a donation to the luncheon. People do pay, they do make a donation to have a lunch, or they bring a toy, if I remember. I remember seeing a bunch of toys there at the same time. So it is something that the officers do come and they donate. It's a beautiful, if I remember, it's a full turkey dinner, and it's a great lunch. And so people do come and they line up to get into this thing. So by all means, if you're able to come, please do that. And I always remember many years ago when I was Mayor Stovall, I did a coat drive. And I always like doing those coat drives this time of year because people need the warmth and the families need it. And there was one person that brought a brand new bomber jacket. It was brand new. And I said, I'd sooner auction it off because I got $300, I think, for it. And then we used the money to actually do more with the $300 in one jacket. But I did donate a few jackets to their blue box or the box up in the Sutton. And the other day I was in the Sutton and lo and behold, someone was wearing my jacket that I had donated. And I knew it got to a right family because they looked like they were kind of struggling and they had given the jacket from the organization. So I've always wanted to do that again. And I think it's very, very worthwhile. And if I'll see what I can do this year. If not, it's always something that's always dear to me is that people need one coats, and we do have so many coats in our dog closet that we don't use. We just sit them there, and so my wife did a clean out, and I lost a lot of coats that day.
Probably ones that you wanted.
No, I don't think they fit anymore.
Those ones she didn't like.
I don't think they fit anymore. I think that was a reason.
Whoops.
Anyways, that was just for information. I don't think there was anything else direction on that. So I need a motion. Thanks, Walter. And Mariel to move us in camera. All those in favor? Against, the motion is carried. So give us a few minutes and who's staying, who's not, and we'll go into the camera session. Private session, sorry.